Welcome to the Talking Single podcast, a podcast featuring 4 single and successful Black women living in London. Join us each week as we share our stories and experiences, the highs and lows of navigating life, love, and everything in between. And we do all that with a good dose of humor and a whole lot of style. I'm Crystal. I'm a recovering love addict, now happily single. I will be your host today. We hope you enjoy this week's episode. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Talking Single podcast. I'm Crystal, aka Crystalite, and I'm your host today. I'm the recovering love addict who used to be addicted to unavailable men, but I am now happily single. With me today are my friends and co-hosts, Ribby, the cautious romantic, Rashida, who is single and ready to mingle, and Keisha. I'm not sure what you are these days, so can you tell us what's going on with you?
Unconscious, unromantic, always.
No, I'm sorry, but that I don't believe that.
Always.
Ribby, please back me up here.
It's just, I don't know what she's saying because it's not true. I don't know what she's saying. It's not true.
I think she's single and ready to mingle, but because that line has been taken by me, you have to come up with something new.
I think you guys should swap because you say you're single and ready to mingle, but you've not done any mingling. So I think you guys should swap personas.
I have been mingling, but because it's
You've been mingling, have you?
Yes.
Lies.
I wonder who you've been mingling with.
Two men.
You talked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you didn't mingle. Mingle is when you go and see them face to face. So you've not been mingling.
You said you're single and ready to mingle, not single and ready to talk. That's not what you...
Or have pen pals. Single and ready to pen pal.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with pen pals. Thank you very much. And I accept that.
Okay. So Keisha is flirty and ready to mingle.
No. I am unconscious, unromantic until the mingling works out. You get it.
No.
That's weak, but okay. Also with us today is special guest SJ from Soulfully Single. I'll give a proper introduction in a minute, but hello SJ and welcome to the Talking Single podcast.
Hello ladies, thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to getting into this chat with you.
Hello. Very excited to have you. I'm just going to read your love persona actually because we've read all ours out, so why not? So SJ has described herself as a recovered validation seeker turned self-love advocate, I'm going to try that again. Recovered validation seeker turned self-love advocate, soul activation activist, and single women's hype girl.
We need an explanation. Please break it down.
Okay, Keisha wants you to explain it to us.
Okay, so actually I loved this kind of request because I was quite surprised that the recovered validation seeker came up for me. And it kind of I had to kind of think about myself and I was like, wow, yeah, that's who I was. So I think the validation seeking part is based on perhaps what I used to be looking for or focusing on before I became soulfully single. And self-love is kind of what brought me out of that situation. And now, as you guys know, it's kind of become my work to help other women empower themselves. So through kind of spiritual practices and also some science, but mainly kind of reconnection with self as such. So that's the soul activation activist part because it's kind of starting with individuals, but it's still quite powerful in the impact it has on the community and bigger whole world. And single women's hype girl, yeah, I'm here for it. It's like there's so much power in doing sisters doing it for themselves. And I just really want to celebrate that. And I want to celebrate all of you, and I want to celebrate everyone else. We all know about the pitfalls and the downfalls and the bad sides as such, but actually there's a lot of good stuff going for us. So that's what I'm repping.
I love that. Yeah. Love it.
Nice one. Lovely to have you.
Thank you.
And that's why we have you here, so we can talk about the joy of being single. But before we get into the topic, I just wanted to ask everyone how their weeks has been. This is the first week that we've been able to meet in groups of 6, and restaurants are open and pubs are open. Has anyone been out and about? Anyone been on any exciting dates, Keisha?
No, not yet. I'm working towards it.
Wait a minute. Hold
it didn't happen. And it wasn't me. I set a date and he didn't get back with the date. In fact, what he did was pretend that it was the following Thursday and said he'd get back to me. So, yeah.
Okay.
So not me.
Would you still go on the dates, or have you just cancelled him completely?
No, I just left him there. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
What if he comes back? Would you go on the date?
If he comes back, I'll still go on the date because he sounds like a nice guy and shit happens. So, yeah.
Okay. Cool. Is he cute?
He's all right.
Does he have broad shoulders?
The shoulders are mid.
Keisha has a thing for guys with broad shoulders. They have to be dependable like a Volvo.
That's right. That's right.
I'm down with that myself.
I like them strong. I like a man who can.
Who can carry you.
Yeah, that's right.
On his shoulders.
No.
Oh dear.
Okay. Anyone else done anything exciting this week?
So I went on another date with the same, I think this is date 5.
Oh, is that 5 or 6?
Date 5.
Woo.
Which is really nice because we've just been going on long walks in the park and just talking. So that's nice.
A long walk.
Does he have a beard?
Of course he does.
He has a stubble.
Oh,
okay.
He shaved his beard and I was very disappointed, but he kept the stubble.
Did you go for the long walks after dark in the park?
No, you don't go. You don't go for walks in the dark with.
Don't you live in London? I don't want to be a statistic. We don't go for long walks in the dark, please. We go during the day where there are people around.
But you found a spot to share your situations and,
I don't know what you're talking about. We went for long walks and it was nice.
They went for long walks and this is date 5. It's looking really good.
You girls are not Jill Scott fans, but all right.
I know the song.
I got it. I got the joke.
Thank you, SJ.
I'm not humoring Keisha this morning because she's not going to stop. So
I'm in the naughty corner.
Ruby, so how's it going with that? So that's date 5, date 6 coming up.
Yeah, we're gonna go somewhere. We're gonna try and see if we can find a pub somewhere either today or tomorrow.
So anyways, it was my birthday. This week. And I went out for brunch with my friend for the first time. So that was exciting. I got loads of messages and presents from my family and friends. But there is one particular message that I got that I would like to draw your attention to. So I got a message from this guy I used to date way back when.
Was it a proposal?
And I wish it was a proposal. And he drops in and out with all these snidey comments. But he came that day and he's like, happy birthday, God bless you. And I was like, oh, thank you. That's nice. God bless you too. And he was like, but babes, why don't you want to get married? I'm sorry to ask. And I was like, what is wrong with this guy? So I sent it to my friends and Rashida actually gave me a good comeback. And so I replied him and said, I'm sorry to say, but it's none of your business. And I would like to keep my private life private. And I was just like, who are you? And why do you get to ask me such questions? Like, haven't heard from you in ages. You're not my friend. You're not in my life. And why do you just assume that because I'm single, I don't want to get married? So, yeah, it pissed me off.
Don't let the idiot ruin your birthday. He's not worth it.
No.
It's just so not worth it.
Yeah, but is that thing we always talk about that as it might be an African thing, or I don't know what it is, but as a single woman, everyone feels entitled to what's going on in your personal life, whether they're your friends or your aunties or your close relatives or just acquaintances. Once they realize, oh, Rashida is not married, the next question is, why you're not married? What's going on in your personal life? Whether or not they have a right to ask the questions is a different case, but it's just a free for all.
I think that this goes a lot deeper than that. I think it's more to do with where women or men expect women to be. It's that putting women in a box that by this age she should be married, by this age she should have kids. I think that's where that stems from, that, women have a place, sort of traditionally, home and hearth, barefoot and pregnant.
But you know what? Ultimately, we can't control what people say to us, right? He has his hand and he has a phone and he chose to send you a message and you put him in his place. You told him to basically fuck off. It's not his business. Yep. And we should be doing more of that, right? So when people say things that are inappropriate, we don't even need to entertain. You don't even need to spend a second on it. Tell them where to go and go on with your fabulous life.
Exactly.
Enough said.
Yeah. So today we are talking about the joy of being single. And I'm going to introduce our guest, SJ, properly. So SJ is the founder of Soulfully Single. SJ is a London-based single Black soul activation activist, a straight talker and spiritual sister, a proud African, an auntie, a yoga instructor and curious creature, moon mover and earring collector, kitchen dancer and designer maker, lover of hip-hop, horticulture, home hacks, and healing therapies. She has also appeared on New Magazine, BBC Radio, and ITV News. And I must confess, SJ, when I was going to invite you, I was a bit nervous. I said to Rashida, I was like, oh, I'm not sure. She's so busy and she's been on all these shows. But I'm so glad I did. You immediately said yes. You didn't think about it twice. So I'm so glad and so honored to have you on. Thank you.
Oh, that's so lovely. That's so lovely. I didn't think I was honored that you asked me. So I'm really surprised to hear that. But thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So I just you've introduced yourself a little bit and told us a bit about what you do, but I just wondered if you wanted to tell us about Soulfully Single, your syndicate, and what that's all about and what you do.
Sure, yes. So Soulfully Single was birthed last year, and it came about, I was already working I'd already transitioned from kind of my 9 to 5 to working in the wellbeing industry. And my business was based around like high vibe lifestyle and trying to integrate ways that, integrate healthy ways to live that raise your vibration, but it's not kind of into a practice and into a way that just feels good. And that was kind of based around group experiences and teaching yoga and things I did around the moon and stuff like that. And then I decided to move into one-to-one. And what happened is I realized I was really passionate about helping other people who were, I guess, were kind of me 5 years in or in the same position as I was before I kind of started feeling better and changed my life. So, and that was single women. And so I think I had my launch event for Soulfully Single last year on Valentine's weekend. And since then, I've really focused on helping other single women, and whether that be within groups. So I now have, as you know, my membership, which is wonderful. And that, I guess, is for women who aren't desperately unhappy, single women who aren't desperately unhappy, but they are just kind of lacking friends that are available. And, because as you guys all know, you're single, when your friends start settling down and that kind of thing. It's not necessarily that you've got a norm and no mates. It's not that situation. It's just that things change and circumstances are different. So the syndicate's really set up to provide a community, really, and it's turning out to be fantastic. We've got a really nice bunch of ladies in there. And then I also work with women one-to-one, and that's for people who are struggling more with being single, and that I work with them kind of over a 3-month period, where we work on kind of all of the self stuff to get a solid foundation that they can then kind of build a new life from, really, or experience life in a different way from. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Oh, thank you. I attended SJ's vision boarding session this Valentine's 2021, and it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, love.
So today we're talking about the joy of being single, and some of the themes and questions are based on a book I love called The Unexpected Joy of Being Single by Catherine Gray, which I totally recommend everyone reads, whether you're single or not. The joy of single isn't about being complacent or telling people about that being single is the best way to be. And it's not about bashing marriage or saying single is better. It's just more about showing society that you are able to find joy while being a single woman, and your life is not a disaster. And if you find yourself single past the age of 30, that there is still life and you can be happy. I personally often say that I'm happily single, but that doesn't mean that I am not looking to meet someone or not interested in anyone. It just means that I am happy whether I do or not. As women from a young age, it's hardwired into our subconscious that as Keisha said, that our sole purpose of existence is to get married and have children. But when we reach a certain age, 30, and we find that we haven't met the one or had children, it kind of becomes a bit weird, and we feel disconnected, and we feel like there's something wrong with us, and we start to blame ourselves. And sometimes we wonder, oh, have I done something wrong? Should I have been less picky? And all these narratives that people throw at you, oh, you're too picky, oh, you're too successful, and blah, blah, blah. But sometimes you're just single, and that's just the way it is. It's nothing you've done wrong. It's not because some people will say, oh, you're fat, you lose weight, you're still single. Oh, you're angry, you work on yourself, you're still single. So there's no reason for it, I don't think. Sometimes you're just single. So I wanted to go through some statistics. In the UK, it's currently estimated that 35% of the population were single, never married, or in a civil partnership. And in the US, there are more than 56 million American adults who have always been single, representing roughly 60% of the adult unmarried population. Yet our stories are not being told. Instead, there are horrible narratives being thrown at us by different toxic people, especially the patriarchy, that, oh, why haven't you got married? Oh, you're old, and blah, 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 blah. And I can honestly say that this is not true. I found myself when I was 30, and I went through this journey, and my whole life changed for the better. And as I told you, SJ, we had a similar journey. I was broken because I was seeking a relationship. But through my brokenness, I went on this spiritual journey, and my eyes opened, and I started to practice self-love. And I'm in such a better place today. I was saying to Rashida the other day that I thought about all the horrible mistakes I'd made in life, or the horrible guys that I'd come in contact with, and how I allowed them to affect me. And I cried. And they were not tears of sadness, but they were tears of joy and freedom in the fact that I am a new person now, and I don't need a relationship to validate myself. So, ladies, I wanted to ask you, what are the unexpected joys that you have found in being single? And I'm going to start with Keisha, because she's jumping up and down. Go, Keisha. What are the unexpected joys you found?
Unexpected joys are making meaningful relationship with friends. Because friends spark joy.
Is that all?
Other unexpected joys is being able to make your own decisions, do your own thing, be your own woman, achieve your own dreams, fulfill your own career, do everything for yourself, because we are soulful and single. Isn't that right, SJ?
Oh my God, I love that. Does this video go out anywhere? That would be amazing if it did.
Well, we're keeping it for as a bargaining chip at some point.
Yes.
Rich and famous, we have stuff to blackmail her with.
No, loving all of that, Keisha. Absolutely. Soulfully single, absolutely.
And SJ, what unexpected joys have you found?
I think I all agreed with Keisha, and I'm sure we'll kind of all be in agreement with all of the answers, I guess, because you got to find the good bits. But the one that came up for me was time, and the reason it came up is because I think on the flip of it, time often feels lonely. So if you're not in a good place, then time is what you don't want on your own. But actually, my unexpected joy has been enjoying time on my own, time to explore myself, time to do whatever I want, whenever I want. And on a deeper level, what it's really given me is like a completely different way of being, in that self-inquiry is kind of hardwired into me now. So I really know myself, and that has been a really unexpected joy and a pleasure, kind of working myself out, if that makes sense. It kind of gives a purpose to it. Like, you're always kind of thinking, well, why did I think that, or why did I say that, or why am I feeling like that? And it kind of it just changes everything. So yeah, that would be my unexpected joy.
Nice. Rashida?
I think for me would be like peace of mind, because obviously for most peace of mind in that for the last two people I dated, towards the end it just became turbulent, and I kept on thinking, oh God, what have I done? What do I need to do? How should I make it better? Why is this person this way? And I just found myself in this unhappy and turbulent place. But now I don't have that. And I have the peace to enjoy the interaction with my friends and my family. And I think the last time I went on holiday with my friends, I wasn't thinking, oh, I have to text this guy, I have to make sure he's fine, or I wasn't falling out with anyone. I had the full presence of mind to enjoy the time with my girls. So, and that usually helps, I guess.
Yeah. Ruby?
So I'm with SJ on this one. I really valued the time to know myself. So I was in a very toxic relationship for many, many years, and I stayed in it because I thought it was what was required of me. And on paper, he ticked all the expected boxes, and it took a lot to come out of that. And so being single, I wasn't happily single. I was like, oh God, now I'm single, I'm a statistic, and people are going to label. And when you're a single Black woman, and, I know we talked about the patriarchy. I think women also can make it really hard. I call them the smug marrieds. They make you feel less than, So I wasn't happy being single, because I was like, oh, now I'm going to be the one that people are feeling sorry for, especially as you get closer to 40 and you pass 40. People start to feel sorry for you, and you kind of don't know your place. But being single, the joy I found was the happiness in self, that I actually shouldn't be looking to other people to make me happy. It should come from within. I should be happy within myself, and accepting myself, flaws and all, is part of what makes me me. And that's beautiful, right? So that was for me. And it was even more than a joy. It was a kind of rediscovery of, when you're single, it really, there are many amazing things about it, but it also helped me understand what I was looking for in a relationship, what mattered and what didn't matter, and what I would accept and what I would not accept going forward. So it really helped me understand. So, Rashida, you mentioned, I'm going to be sending him a message and checking, is he there? When I'm with friends, do I have to be sent? If I know that that's not the kind of relationship I want with somebody where I need to be sending him messages. So I really understood what I was looking for. And I was also ready to step out of the expectation of what the right guy is expected to look like according to society. That's not, I'm not interested in that, is what works for me. So it was a really amazing experience, and it continues to be. I'm still single, but it's an amazing experience.
I was going to say, because I had
I'm not in a rush to get out of being single just because I've met somebody or not. It really has to work for me and my situation. And quite frankly, if anybody doesn't like it, well, that's their problem, not mine.
I love.
Amen.
Preach it. That's it.
Yes.
Like that. Amen.
I love all the replies. I feel the same as Ruby actually, and SJ. I definitely found myself, and I feel like if I had got into any of the relationships that I had when I was 28 or when I was in my early 30s, I would not be the wonderful person that I am today. And so I am so grateful to God that I didn't end up with any of those men, and that my journey has led me to discover self-love, because I love myself so much and I won't give it up for anybody that is not right. Before the pandemic, when life was normal, I used to see this Tinder advert on the bus, and it said something like, single does not know what's around the corner. And I really love that, because you don't know, all the good things and all the wonderful things that are going to happen in your life with regards to relationships, where people who are in relationships have already found the one. And most likely, even if they wanted to, they can't keep looking. But for us, we kind of tend to always have this little bit of excitement because we don't know what's going to happen in life or in the future. And I just really, really love that. I read an interesting Twitter quote by a lady called Puna Bell. She's a writer and influencer. And the quote really resonated with me. And it was about single women and their friends. And she said that on the cusp of 40, I've learned how much easier it is to seek out friends who reflect my current lifestyle while retaining my old mates who are the historians of my life. It means I feel like I belong, which is how you should always feel with your mates. It's less pressure on your old friends who have children when you don't. And I feel understood. So basically what she was saying is that some of her friends are in a different stage in life. So they can't, like, for example, go clubbing and, go out to dinner all the time, but they're still her friends. And then she's made new friends who do reflect her new lifestyle. So her friendships are really balanced. And I feel like I have that as well. And I just want to shout out to my best friend, Bolanle Johnson, who is married with 2 kids, but always has time for me when I need to chat. We can't always go clubbing or go to dinner, but she's that historian of my life and always there for me. But then I have other friends as well who are single, who we can hang out and do single things. And I'm just wondering, with you guys, how do you handle being single when most of your friends are married or with kids and can't do the same thing you do anymore? And I'll start with you, SJ.
I love that quote, by the way. That's pretty much exactly what I did. I still have kind of my historical friends, as you say, and I made new ones, and as you say, who kind of reflect my current values and availability and. So I think what I would say, kind of to directly answer the question, is kind of refer back to the previous question in enjoying your own company, exploring yourself, discovering things that you can do on your own, which are pleasurable, and then enjoy the company of strangers. And what I mean by that is go out to events, or, I know it's a pandemic, but events, online communities, whatever it might be. And I think there's a lot of value in making new connections and making new friends, as you say. But also I found when I was kind of in this period of discovery myself, that actually you don't have to see that person again. You might just go to an event, sit down next to someone, have a conversation with them and never see them again. And that's okay. It might be a really lovely conversation. I've done that so many times. So yeah, enjoy your own company, enjoy the company of strangers, make new friends, as you say, absolutely. So that kind of everything overlaps, really, doesn't it? Everything overlaps. Make new friends. What I would say about kind of your historical friends, what I definitely try to do, because most of mine have families, is plan ahead. So that, I mean, as you said, Crystal, they may well be on the phone or, you know, voice notes, texting, whatever, WhatsApp groups are great. But in terms of actually seeing them, plan ahead, like say, okay, this in, you know, the month ahead, are you free on whatever Saturday, and like book them in so that you still maintain that kind of like face-to-face in real life contact. And stay out of comparison, like stay out of the comparison of your friends with the families, and just do your own thing, like trailblaze for yourself and kind of enjoy your independence.
That's great. What are your thoughts, Ruby? How do you handle your single life and your married friends?
So I have a spectrum of friends, but I think, you know, Esther hit it on the head when it says it starts with you. So I'm fairly kind of happy in my own company, number one. So I could spend the weekend reading a book or watching TV, and I'm cool. And then I do have friends that I'm married. We've known each other for many, many years. They're not even in the same country as me, but we have a call maybe once every 2 weeks. And we talk about deep stuff, right? So I have friends that I can go to the deep with, as I call it. I have single friends that we can hang out, that have a much more of a flexible diary and lifestyle. So you can call them and say, what are you doing now? You free? Yeah, let's go for a walk. Cool. And we go. So you've got people like that. And then you have people that you bump into and you have a great conversation, and there is no expectation that we're going to exchange numbers and and that's fine. So I kind of just wing it, I guess. I don't have a preset formula or kind of thought process about this. I guess over time, realize that people will play different roles in your life, and I don't expect any more or less, because everybody's got their own stuff that they're going through. But ultimately, I really do believe it starts with being happy in your own company and being happy within yourself. And then the rest is kind of like icing on the cake, really.
Yeah. Rashida.
Well, so with historical friends, definitely there'd be some women, well, in my case, there'd be some women when we were all single in our 20s, we're like, this is my best friend for life. But as you grow older, things just change. So I have quite a few historical old friends that we don't really talk so much, because obviously we're in different portions of our lives. And back to what we've seen when we started is many of them have these, I feel like some have these blinkers on and are quite intrusive and insensitive about the single life. So, and I guess for me is my biggest thing is protect my peace. Anything that is interacting or anything that interrupts my peace or tries to disrupt my peace of mind, I just cancel. So sad to say, I had some old friends that we don't really talk anymore, because the conversation is always, can't you see I am married, I have kids, I know you want to do the same, how about you do this, why don't you want to get married? And you're just like, actually, let's just be friends. I mean, we were friends first. I understand you have a family. So for me personally, those sort of people don't kind of feature that much in my life. I love my single friends, and apart from that, I don't even think I choose my friends based on single or not single. Is if we get on and we seem to have a good time, then you're my friend. But if we haven't got anything in common anymore, I realize it's okay to say bye.
Bye, Felicia.
How about you, Keisha?
I've never really separated my friends into married and not married. I think that's probably because the friends I have now are friends I've sort of carried over from high school, uni, my work life. And yeah, they got married along the way. People got married at different times. Some got married early, some got married late, but ultimately they're still my friends. I think the ones I'm even closest with are the ones that are even married, and I'm friends with both the husband and the wife because I knew both of them in uni long before they got married. So, and I think if somebody's your friend, they would want the best for you and they would know you well enough to know what you want when you want it. So anyone who knows me should know that bugging me about marriage every 5 minutes is just not going to work. So I don't really have friends that do that. I do have friends that ask, oh, are you dating, or, how are things going? But not anybody specifically asking me about marriage or kids. So I guess maybe I've shed them along the way, but where I
Probably.
am right now, I just don't have that. Yeah.
Nice. So there are a lot of people, a lot of single people who are now in dead end bad relationships because they don't have the emotional stamina and fortitude to endure being alone until the right person comes along. And I just wanted to ask, how have you stopped yourself from not letting the pressure of being single push you into the arms of men who are available? And I mean men who are available because I'm sure that all of us have one guy who has been madly in love with us, but we know they're not the right person. And there's been that pressure because we're single to maybe go with that guy, but we haven't. So I just wondered how you handled that situation, and or maybe there's someone still hanging around. How have you continued to handle it, SJ?
This is such an interesting one. I guess for me, I don't think I've ever been that person where I would be with someone just so I'm not alone. I know that that's rife and that it happens very often. And as you say, some people need someone. I guess why I've been single for so much of my life is because I'm not that person. I guess what I would say is I have definitely, I guess, for want of a better way of putting it, fallen into the arms of the wrong men temporarily out of loneliness. And that's not a place that I am in now or have been in for a long time. But there's definitely pitfalls. But I don't think I would ever be with someone for the sake of being it, because I'm looking for something special in the companionship. So that's why I'm struggling to find a partner. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of that X factor as such. But yeah, that's not the specific question that you're asking has never been a problem for me, but I obviously completely understand it. I think it's what I have opened up to is not being so set in what I thought the person needs to be and giving people more of a chance. But if in getting to know someone more, it's still not kind of that special feeling that I'm looking for, then I wouldn't think, oh, well, they tick all the boxes, let's do this. That's why I'm where I'm at, basically. That's why I'm single.
Yeah. Rashida?
I think for me, definitely, like as you said, like in my 20s, there'd always be, I think all of us have it, that person or group of guys when you're just bored, you're just texting, oh, how are you? What are you doing? Da 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 da. In my 20s, even in my early 30s, there were quite a few guys I knew that liked me, but I just put them on the side burner, kind of. But I guess now I would credit at some point, I think I've talked about it, I was unhappy for a long time. So I did have a therapist for almost 2 years, actually. And in the process with the therapy and all of those things, I learned to, as you say, understand myself, love myself better, and choose myself first in many situations. And that, I think, has been the driver at this point. I don't think I will allow any available man to come into my life, because it means I'm not choosing myself first. And for me is Rashida first. Not being selfish, but it has to be Rashida first, because the way I used to love was, oh, I love this guy so much, I'll do anything. But now is, I love this person so much, but if you're interfering with my peace and my happiness and my joy and my progress, I'm canceling you. Nobody's above cancellation. So I guess once I have that in the forefront of my mind, I know these available guys are going to somehow interfere with that peace and the good space I'm in. And that is something I cannot compromise any longer. And even if it's my friends or family members, ask Crystal how many family members I threaten to cancel all the time, because my peace is the most important thing to me. Yeah.
Keisha?
I think I do have some long-standing, just one or two long-standing, because remembering your question, long-standing male friends that they are single. In fact, some of them are, because we've been friends since uni, my family is very close to them. In fact, one of them is very close to my sister, and so it's quite ironic. I think initially, in years ago, they always wondered why we never got together, but it's always been clear in my mind why we never got together. And I think
not to drive a Volvo.
So I don't know. Again, I don't get that pressure anymore. I think initially there was a question as to, oh, why not? But I answered the question and everybody just moved on. So I think it's about, if you're we say this a lot, but you really just need to be happy within yourself. Anybody that comes into your life needs to add to it, not take away from it, not bring any drama. They need to add to it elements that you want. And I think if that's not going to happen, it's just not going to happen. Yeah, it's not worth the drama.
Yeah. Then as we grow older, I feel like most of us will grow into our own persons, and you're just more certain of what you want. And the temporary gratification of a guy talking to you for like 2 weeks is no longer holds the same attraction as it did when you were 19 or 20 years old. Now, as 30-plus-year-old women, we're like, okay, we want something long-term, meaningful, and solid.
Yeah. Ruby,
Sure.
Yeah.
quickly.
Well, I think that when you're younger, you have less patience for crap. So if you don't like a guy, you just say, well, I don't like you, and move on. Certainly that was me. I was far more choiceful, let's put it this way, in my teens and my 20s. I think as you start to get older and you start to get the family noise to say, okay, and you start to see each of your friends settling down, you start to think, ooh, maybe I am being a little bit too picky subconsciously. Maybe, does he have to be everything? Can I, maybe I need to kind of lower my standards or whatever.
It doesn't have to be Idris.
And then you start to pick stuff, you start to kind of compromise. And as you get even older, and especially if there are internal struggles that you're having, you don't want to have to deal with them by yourself. And you feel like maybe being with somebody else could make me happy, and so I have a lot of empathy for people that go through those challenges and they seek completeness in other relationships or in somebody else. And I think that's why it happens. That's why people can sometimes settle, because it's easier to, lose yourself in somebody temporarily than face the inner demons that you may or may not have to kind of deal with. And I think that's what happens. But ultimately, it's not worth it, right? Two people that are not meant to be, it's just not going to work, especially if you are not happy within yourself. Exactly. So
for real,
that's kind of the challenge. I find that, again, as I said before, it really starts with self, being happy and content within self and knowing what you are worth and choosing to wait for that right person. He's not going to be Mr. Perfect. We've said that before, but just waiting till you find that X factor that is right for you is so much more worth it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and
Definitely.
I don't know. I was just going to say something. Sorry, Crystal. I was just going to say something, Reby, as in I guess the way you mentioned it is the direct opposite to me. When you were younger, you were straight to the point. Don't like him, move on. For me, on the other hand, when I was younger, I was more likely to be like, well, he seems like an okay guy. I don't care. Right now, I'm fine. And I just allowed all sorts of randoms get into my life. But now, as an older person, I feel like I'm more ruthless with the people I bring into my space. Like more, I guess maybe like now I'm more aware of what I want. So I'm more like, okay, well, doesn't suit my long-term goals, bye and move on.
Just quickly, because of time, the last question before we move to rapid fire is, ladies, you are all so fully single and you are joyful in your singleness, but there are lots of women who are younger than us, who are in their late 20s or early 30s, who are feeling the pressure and struggling with being single. What advice, quickly, would you give them? SJ, start with you.
Repeating again, focus on yourself. First of all, don't sweat it. You have time. You definitely have time. The only time that I want to acknowledge, I guess, would be fertility. But if you're under like 35, like seriously, you're not in a problem. Focus on yourself. Get clear on your value, your values, and your vision. They are my 3 pillars for dating. And when you are kind of stepping into those, you will be, first of all, you'll be enjoying the journey and you won't have time to be worrying about stuff you don't need to be worrying about. But also you will be getting ready to attract, but not necessarily a person, but, you know, stepping into that version of yourself means that you're ready for the stuff, the good stuff that's going to come to you. So there's no point in wasting time worrying on any situation, really. Just get on and do you.
Thank you. Rashida?
What I would say is, and I always say to all my younger cousins is, at whatever point you are, live your best life. And I have cousins that are between 25 and 29, and when they keep saying, oh, but I won't get married before 30, and I'm like, well, look at me, I'm over 30, I'm not married, I'm living my best life, I'm happy. So to remove that stereotype, like, well, if you don't do this by a certain age, you failed. Actually, all of those milestones are made up by some random people, or by who, no one knows.
The patriarchy.
Yeah. So make up your own milestones and just hit them and live your best life.
Nice. Ribby?
So here's what I would say. You know, at the end of the day, the only thing you can control is your actions and your mindset. So people will say whatever they want to say to you. They might say, oh, time is passing, why are you single, da 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 da. I would then say, look, just be happy with the choices that you are making, because that's the only person you're accountable to, yourself. Be happy with those choices. If you are doing something that is not making you happy, pause to reflect on why and do something about it. It's never easy, but start with making your happiness your priority. And reflect on, if you're not happy, what can you personally do, as opposed to listening to the voices around you.
Nice, thank you. Keisha?
I would say, if I had to give advice, I would say, do you. And I think it's in the same vein everybody's saying, do you, don't worry about anybody else. Advice is meant to be listened to. You don't always have to take it. So if people are chatting to you things in your ear you don't want to hear, enjoy making your own mistakes. Make them.
Ooh,
embrace them. Own them.
Yes.
They're yours to make. This is your 20s and 30s are the only times you can make those kind of mistakes and bounce back. Have fun with it. That's it.
Oh, I love that. Can I just add something really quickly? Yeah. Something that I always say to my clients in my groups, what is for you shall not pass you. Like, seriously, if it is meant for you, it's coming. So like, you can't really go wrong if you're living from if you're heart-led living, like if you're living soulfully, you can't really go wrong. Like, you're going to get what you need. So that I wanted to just throw that in.
Nice. I would say that you need to be happy in yourself. A relationship will not bring you happiness. In fact, some scientists did some research and they said people who got married were happy for a while, but then they fell back onto the level of happiness that they had before they were married. So imagine if you weren't happy before you were married, you got married, you were happy for a little bit, and then you just fell back on your unhappiness. So you need to be happy within yourself and find whatever that means to you. And the second thing I would say is that if you know you want children and you are of a certain age, yes, that is something that is against us. But there are options. Go and look into the options of freezing your eggs if you know you want children or you're in doubt about it. If you know you don't want children at all, that's fine. But if you want them, go and freeze your eggs or go and look into what options there are out there for you.
And go and check out our episode on fertility because we break everything down.
Woo! Right on,
right on time. Go, Crystal.
Yay. So rapid fire. So for rapid fire, I'm going to give you a few negative words that have been used to describe single women over the age of 30. And I want you to either give me a sentence or 3 positive words to counteract this negativity. So some of the words that I've heard are broken, desperate, spinster, old, worthless, shallow, fat, bossy, uncooperative, picky, failure, lonely. SJ, go. Give us
powerful, trailblazing, independent, autonomous, joyful, soulful, wonderful, magical, amazing,
love it.
beautiful.
Ruby, go.
Unapologetic, soulful, powerful, delightfully single, self-minded, I would say liberated, blissful, empowered, beloved.
For me, because those are the exact words I'm about to say.
They're like stealing all the words. Okay, no. Let me go. Let me go next. Let's go next. I want to go next. Me.
Go, Rashida, go.
Okay, yeah, so everything SJ said, plus everything Ruby said.
Oh my God, that's such a cop-out.
Okay, now it's my turn.
Beautiful, powerful, independent. I think they said all those were all those.
It doesn't matter if you repeat what the others
happy, content, a leader of your own, master of your own ship. Great. Your path. Yeah, that's it.
Keisha's burning.
When they have said everything finished, what do you want me to
you
be
can
saying?
repeat what others say. It's fine.
Okay, I will try. Amazing, awesome, fabulous, outstanding, super, wonderful, gorgeous.
She Googled it.
Yes,
sincere.
On that note,
brave. I want to add brave.
Brave. Yeah.
Likeable, inventive,
fearless.
happy.
I would add joyful, happy, wonderful, beautiful, amazing, complete. Just amazing. You're amazing. There's nothing wrong with you. And that is the whole point of the topic we're talking about today is that even though you're single, you can be joyful. So thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
And I just want to say a big thank you to our guest SJ for joining us. It's been and giving us her pearls of wisdom. It's been so awesome having you. SJ, so tell our listeners what you have coming up and how they can find you.
Thank you again so much for having me. It's such a lovely start to the morning. So it's absolutely been my pleasure. Everyone can find me on the gram at Soulfully Single. My website at the moment is beingsj.com. So that's being as in human being and my name sj.com. I think it would actually work also if you do soulfullysingle.co, but you can find me if you just Google the name. I have my membership. It's closed at the moment, but it'll be reopening doors in summer, probably July, for anyone that wants to join the community. Or you can work with me one-to-one. I do soul power hours for kind of specific issues, and also have my signature program to kind of really elevate people from wherever they're at the moment.
You also do a few free masterclasses, don't you? So people can look out for those.
Absolutely. So I have a free masterclass, Boss Being Single, 3 Secrets to Boss Being Single. It's actually happening on Monday, but I'm not sure when this is going out. So there will be a replay that everyone can watch, and that will give the essential prerequisites, I guess, to being and feeling soulfully single. And I will also walk you through my roadmap that I use with one-to-one clients to live your fabulous life, really. So yeah, that's available too.
Nice. And as I said, I went to SJ's vision boarding session. Absolutely loved it. It was amazing.
Thank you, my love.
So listeners, on the 12th of May, it's going to be our 1-year podivasary. Whoop, 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 whoop. And to celebrate, we are giving away 3 special prizes. Prize 1 is a £30 voucher to buy anything you want from Coates Creations. Prize 2 is a 1-hour power coaching session with our guest SJ. So you get to have 1 hour of SJ. And prize 3 is a book by Jen Sincero called You Are a Badass Every Day. You can check out our social media for entry rules, but if you are not on social media, you can also enter by reviewing us on Apple Podcasts and send an email of the screenshot to talkingsinglespodcast@gmail.com. The last entry will be at 12 a.m. on the 11th of May, and winners will be announced on the 12th of May. And yeah, that's the end of today's podcast episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening. And until next time, if you're single, be joyful, be soulful. Bye.
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 Thanks for listening to the Talking Single podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. We'd love to hear from you. So please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter with the handle @Talking Single Podcast. You can also send us comments or questions with the hashtag @Talking Single Podcast. We are downloadable on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and of course share with your family and friends. Take care and see you next week. Same time, same place.